All right, so the year is 2019, and the government has been shut down for a total of 35 days. Stop me if you've heard this one before. So the year is 2025, and the government has been shut down for a total of 35 days. As of tomorrow, it will be the longest shutdown in history. The government was also shut down in 2019 for a total of 35 days. Now, it was shut down over Trump demanding money for his border wall. And so at the time, I believe it was Nancy Pelosi, who was Speaker of the House. Fast forward, we're no longer in 2019, we're in 2025. The government has been shut down again. And as far as I can tell, it seems to be over health care or Affordable Care Act slash Obamacare subsidies. And so effectively, this is how subsidies work. You've got an amount that, of course, something costs, and they subsidize or help pay for it, through the government. Well, once those subsidies go away, you are simply left with the expense that is unsubsidized. The government isn't pouring into it to make it less expensive. And so what does that mean? Well, that means that the cost of health care for a lot of people is simply going to be unaffordable. Sure, it's still available, but if it's unaffordable, what difference does it make? Suddenly you've got millions and millions of people being kicked off of healthcare because it's simply unaffordable. So I understand it when Democrats say, hey, we understand that these subsidies don't fully expire until the end of the year, but we simply don't want to kick the can down the road. I understand as well when Republicans are simply saying, hey, you can't hold the government hostage and you need to reopen the government and we can talk about this later. We can negotiate it later. But there was a point in time where, for lack of a better term, the Democrats fell for that before. I know there was a point in time, I can't be very specific, so if you know, please mention it in the comments, but there was a point in time where the Democrats wanted to negotiate about something. The Republicans simply said, hey, if you reopen the government, we can talk about it later. And unfortunately, later never came. And so here we have a standoff, and you've got the American people in the middle of it. Now, it doesn't matter who you voted for, whether it is Democrat, whether it is Republican, whether it was Trump, or whether it was Harris. The bottom line is our government not being open is a bad thing for all of us. When you've got these, TSA agents not being paid, when you've got, people all across the government that are simply not being paid, most importantly, or just as important as anyone else, how about these air traffic controllers? I mean, they're extremely important, right? I say all this to say that we've got to do something because this is not a record that we want to keep breaking. This is not something that we just want to keep doing, over and over and over again. It happens too often where we're simply breaking the wrong kind of records in this country. Years ago it was over the border wall. Now it's over, ACA subsidies. At the end of the day, we've got to find a better way. We've got to exercise compassion if we truly want this stuff to not keep cycling through over and over and over again. It's it can be so frustrating sometimes, you know. As a black man here in the United States, trying to always look for opportunities, you know, not being a stranger to adversity and to hard work, but simply looking for, you know, a way to be successful, to feel accomplished. That's simply what we all want. But as I always say, let's see where this goes.